Alright, I got it. Not really top split speed, but to kind of teach people not too familiar with road racing or the track layout, car combo, whatever. Kind of where to brake, the general line to use. So I'll go through a lap kind of slow, it would talk you through it, and then I'll go and watch the lap at full speed at the end. So without further ado, I'm headed towards what's considered turn 11 here. It's the hairpin right before the start finish line. Coming to the fast lap. I'll go ahead and cover it since we're already here going into this lap. So the track kind of drops off right here. You'll see this yellow line, kind of at the end of this yellow line. Is where I start braking at. It's a pretty heavy braking zone. You're going to go all the way down to first gear. This is the only turn I use first gear for. You can see here, I mean, I'm using probably 80% brake with no lockup. First gear, you're going to hold it in pretty tight to the barrels / the curb. You gotta be really gentle getting back on the throttle. I mean, you can see I'm still only at 50% throttle here. I actually shift up before I even get to full throttle. So I'm up to second. This little kink, it's weird. It's right kind of where you're going to be shifting gears. So it's not a terrible idea to shift early up to third. But you can do it, see fit, but it seems a little bit more stable if you shift up to third before the kink. Alright, so start finish line. And really this is a long sweeping left-hander going up the hill. It's going to be not too far after the start finish line is when you're going to be out of the throttle and you're really going to roll it. You need to try and kind of keep the car as far to the left as possible when going up the hill to maximize the run that you'll get out of the right-hander. So, see right here, this is where I'm already out of the throttle. Coasting, a little bit of brake. A little bit of brake. I give it a little bit of gas here, but I want to put the left sides on this blue and yellow curb if possible. And then as I'm getting towards the end of the strip here, I'm going to go a little bit heavier on the brake and start my turn in. So turn in starting right here. Getting in as close to this curb as possible. I don't think you see NASCAR and they hop up over this curb. I mean, you can. I don't think it's necessarily ideal, but if you choose to, by all means. I actually push a little bit wider earlier than I would have liked here, but you want to push it out all the way to the curbing there on the left. Let me just watch it here at full speed so you can see it a little bit. So right there, it kind of pushed a little bit more. I think I tried to get into the throttle a tick too early, so I had to kind of bail back out of the throttle. If I probably would have waited another half second, that would have been more ideal. I'm not, see here, I don't get to full throttle in this section here. I just leave it in second gear. You're using second gear for a lot of this section of the track, not really necessary to downshift to first or anything like that. Kind of where the point where this curb is roughly where I'm going to start braking, maybe a little bit before that. Right here I'm braking. You want to get in as close to this curb as possible, but you can see how it's angled. You really don't want to get those left sides on that curbing. It can upset the car pretty significantly, but you want to stay left here as possible. So swing out to the left. Right here at this point is where you kind of want to aim for. You don't want to be any more to the right because as you can see the curbing it's kind of rolls upward, so it's gonna launch in unsteady the car if you're not careful. Gotta be really gentle in the throttle here. And this is the newer layout that they're using, which is actually the old layout. They went and used this layout that kind of extends down here and cuts off the carousel section a while ago. But as I'm headed down the hill here, you're gonna push out to the left here where this curbing is. This is a pretty tricky braking zone. You don't really have a great reference point. You don't have any markers or anything. I don't know if you can really see it. So there's this little section right here in the rumble strip. I don't know if it's dirt or what it is, but it looks like it's a little bit lighter than the rest of the rumble strip. That's right around where I'm gonna start braking at. So right about here. I leave it in second gear here. Again, I don't think going down to first gear is really necessary. Pretty heavy braking zone, 75, probably 80%. You're going to give it a little bit of gas to feed it out here to the left, but you're not going to be in the throttle very hard. The car gets very unstable through this right hand. I'm going to call it a kink. You're never going to be full throttle. The car is going to feel like it wants to snap around on you, so you got to be really tentative on the throttle. You can see I'm 40, maybe 50% at most. So this is a blind crest. This leads into the carousel here. Really, the best place is kind of as you reach the crest of the hill here is where you're going to start lifting and braking a little bit. So right about here. And maybe a little bit before the actual full crest, but completely out of the throttle, about 50, 60% braking. You could hear a little wheel hop there. That just naturally happens as you're going over this crest. Usually it's only happening when you're shifting gears. Here, I think just going over the crest and the car getting kind of light is causing it. Just kind of trail braking it ever so slightly, so kind of a little bit of brake and then easing out of it. I want to stay to the left here. You're going to be looking for this blue and yellow curbing here. You got to be really patient to get back into the throttle. I'm in it a little bit here, usually about where this starts ending is where I'm going to start picking up the throttle a little bit more, but you can't just jump into it or the car's going to snap loose on you. You got to ease back into it and push it all the way out to the right here onto this curb. Don't jump over this curb. That's a 1x every time, and if you're still on the curb, as you reach the end of it, touching, like even barely touching the dirt at the end, it's a 1x. All right, another heavy braking zone here. I paused it a little bit earlier because the braking mark kind of goes away as you get closer to it. But you can see the shadow where the wall is, where it really starts. It kind of starts going away as you get closer to it, but right at the start of that shadow is where I brake, and I just go down to second gear here, and I just leave it there. You might be able to go down to first gear. I just don't think it. I think you get a better launch overall. So right here, again, pretty heavy braking. Right now it's about 55, 60%. I go, I spike it all the way up to, I mean, that's probably 90, 95% right there. Heavy braking zone. I've found for this turn, waiting later to downshift to second gear helps the wheel hop. If you downshift too early, you'll hear it downshift a little bit. The downshifting or the wheel hop that you hear, it's when you hear the engine kind of like flutter. It's hard to describe, but when you hear it kind of like flutter, that's where you're wheel hopping. Ideally, you want to try and get in as close to this curve as possible. This is a double apex. So I'm going to apex here, push out a little bit wider to the left, and then apex on the other corner. I think I missed both of these apexes just slightly. I mean, it's probably half a car length, but pushes me a little bit wide. definitely a blind corner. You're going to feed into the top of the S's. Again, I'm just staying in second gear here. And you got to be really partial on the throttle. You're not going to be flat out through this entire section. I mean, that's kind of a common theme for this track. You're very rarely full throttle. So I'm 50% throttle here, as you can see. So line through here, you want to stay to the left here. It goes left, right, and then it's a slow sweeping left-hand turn. So stay to the left here. You want to try and avoid clipping the end of this rumble strip here. If you clip it, it does unsteady the car a little bit. So ideally, you get your rights right to this point, but if you clip it slightly, it's not the end of the world. Just know it's going to unsteady the car a little bit. Pretty heavy braking here. Going around this bend, you want to keep it as far left as possible. That's going to allow you to have an optimal line going around this. And you can get up on the curb here. You can see wrong button. You can see the car kind of lifts up here. That's where I'm getting up onto the curb, but that's perfectly fine. Feeding the throttle ever so slightly. Out of the throttle, very, very light braking. Stick it in as close to the right curve here as possible. Clipping it, not the end of the world again. You're going to feed back into the throttle. It's challenging. You want to jump into the throttle here and really get the power down. But if you do that, you're going to kind of push out to the right here, and it's hard to get it back to the inside to set up for the quick right-hander that's coming up. So you want to kind of ease, and you want to get your left sides onto this curbing here. This is another, you don't have a real brake marker, so I kind of just go by feel. This is probably right about where I'm about to jump out of the throttle and brake a little bit. You want to stick in close to the curb here on the right as possible. So you can see braking spikes pretty high here. It's probably 90%. Keep it on the right. If you miss the apex there on the right, you're going to push out wide to the left here. And I'm sure a lot of people have seen NASCAR races here. It's a very common place because it's such a high-speed turn for drivers to push out wide into the dirt, get into the tire wall, what have you. So you want to keep it to the right. You're going to feed out towards this rumble strip here. I could have probably carried a little bit more speed there. But again, I'm not setting world record laps here. This is going to feed down to the final turn, the hairpin again. So remember, you go down a little bit of a hill, but right where this yellow line comes to an end, heavy braking. All the way down to first. Plug the barrels. And take it all the way to the finish line. Alright. I don't know how this lap stacks up. If I were to guess, I'm probably 3 or 4 seconds slower than what some of your top slip guys are going to be doing. Weather conditions obviously play a little bit of a role on it, but I'm expecting probably the fast guys are probably running 36, 37, something like that. Again, this is just to kind of get used to the track, kind of show you a general line. I'm going to go back, start it from the beginning, just watch the lap in full speed, and that'll probably be the end of the video, unless I come up with anything in between that I just kind of want to touch on at the end. again, pretty much this whole, like, almost this whole lap, you're staying in second gear. Only place you're getting up to third is going to be out of this turn here. And then the front stretch, I think. So third gear here. Down to second. I think he's staying second for pretty much all of the S's. Nah, yeah. I think third's only used twice. Oh, no, I do go to third there. Oh, and I stay in third for this right-hand sweeper. Okay, so yeah, you go to third there, you stay in third through this right-hand sweeper. Never use fourth, though. Alright. That's it. Let me know if you guys have any questions or anything. I will answer as quickly as possible. Later.